gotten rid of I had an S2000 for a few years. I got rid of that, and I was driving around a 97 Grand Prix GTP. And it was fun, but it wasn't my style. I like manual transmission, rear-wheel drive. Started looking at different cars. Finally fell in love with the Nissan, the Z32. A guy local, I was living in Philadelphia, he was in Delaware, wasn't too far of a drive. Went and looked at it, he was an older gentleman, just bought himself a new STI, wanted to get rid of this, basically his wife wanted him to get rid of it. So I made him a good offer, and I knew it had bad head gaskets too, it had an overheating issue. But I just scooped it. I was like, I'll dig it, I'll fix it. I let it sit for 2 or 3 years, and then ended up pulling the motor and fixing everything. So, well, it came with a front mount intercooler, which causes a lot of heating issues in the end. So I switched over to side mounts, put a full exhaust on it with a boiler muffler, 2 dual intake. So it's got dual mass airflow with a Selin translator, HCAS blow-off valves, 740cc injectors. They're E85 compatible if I ever wanted to go that route. And just a chip tune. And then boost jets basically to pressurize it to around 14 psi. Nothing too crazy, just basic bolt-ons. At the crank, probably around 400, I'd say. So maybe like, hopefully 350. I don't use it for racing at all, really. I've taken it to the Glen once and went on the track, did some hot laps. It's fun for that stuff. It's fun for autocrossing. I've never autocrossed this car. S2000 I autocrossed a bunch. But basically, once the turbos go, because they're factory turbos, then I'll pull the motor again, start building the motor, and then get bigger turbos.
Not 1 turbo, but 2 turbos. This is Mark's 300ZX twin turbo. I rode in this car like, it's gotta be like 5 years ago now, the first time he put it back together. And at that point I had no semblance for like what speed felt like. Now I've driven some faster cars. I don't own one yet, but I'm working on it. The one thing from when we were shooting rollers this morning, oh my god, the noise. I mean, 3-liter V6 on its own sounds good. Add 2 turbos to the mix, it sounds even gooder. Not to mention how this thing looks like, you know, rolling down the expressway or rolling down side roads. It looks the business from the front. It's, you know, low, wide, dare say gives off some Bugatti EV110 vibes. It's cool that like everything, he might hate it, but everything is on like the side of the steering wheel. There's like no climate control buttons on the center console really. It's just the radio, this little cutout, and a clock. But he said the AC blows ice cold. I just gotta figure out how to turn it on because it's hot in here. So about 400 horsepower to the crank. So I don't know, 330, 340 wheel. Said it is a straight pipe. I don't know if it was 3-inch, but straight pipe with a set of mufflers in the back. The turbos themselves are, you know, perfect mufflers in my opinion. So it's really not that loud. I mean, I'm having a conversation with 2 GoPros right now, but if somebody was with me, I could have an easy conversation with them without having to scream. I love that this is T-top. I mean, I'd be terrified of breaking them every time I took them out, but this is sweet. Also, I love this. I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, but there's obviously no back seats in this car. It's not, you know, not even like an attempt for back seats. There's just this panel for the hatchback, and it's like it feels weird because there's so much space. Not hard to drive at all. I was afraid the clutch was going to be, you know, really stiff and grabby. Oh, the recirc. The blow off is so quick and so like sharp, but you know it's there. It pulls good. It pulls good and it pulls linear. And that's really the benefit, you know. It's not twin huge turbo where it's like nothing, 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 and then all of a sudden these 2 monster turbos spool up. It's twin small turbo. So it's immediate power. It's a well put together package from the factory. He's done some nice upgrades to it. But it's not aggressive. It's rowdy when you get on it. But, you know, just cruising, it's comfortable. These seats are nice. I've always loved these cars. A lot of people, for some reason, prefer the Z31, which is the gen before this. I just think they look way too like 70s, 80s to me. Not a big fan of 70s, 80s era cars, but this is like late 80s design, back when car companies were making cool stuff. You know, the era of your NSX, your Supras, your R32, 33s, back when car companies were nailing it. And this is on that list. It's another, I don't want to call it a legend, but it's a legend like. It's those cars that you see, you remember from video games as a kid, and like now being old enough to drive, I've been old enough to drive, but like old enough to drive and having friends with cool cars, the chance to get to drive one of these is awesome. And like the looks you get, even there was like a 70, 80-year-old couple next to me at the light there, and the lady was just looking at me and smiling and waving. You don't see these things around much anymore. Goddamn. If I could hear this noise every day, I would probably be the happiest man on the face of the earth. Just puts the best smile on your face. You know, it's Saturday morning. It's, what, 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30. Talk about the best way to start your day. You know, driving all these cars, but driving awesome sounding cars in the morning. This would really set the precedent. You drive this thing to work, you're like, yeah, show up to work with a smile on your face. How many of you can say that?
So here we are. The first Z we're doing here on the channel. I'm so happy to finally be in a Z car. I've never experienced any Nissan Z, so this is kind of a cool first car to be in, the 300ZX. The new Z is going to be coming out here in the next couple of weeks, if not already, depending upon when this episode goes live, and they're naming it the 400Z as opposed to the 370. You know, that was the last version. They're dropping the 300s, they're moving to the 400s, which is kind of weird because it's a 3-liter V6 and it is twin turbo. So, you know, Nissan, you should really name it the 400ZX because it's the same engine setup, V6 3-liter twin turbo, as this car. First impressions immediately, like, there's some really cool tech. This cluster is totally unique. I've never seen anything like this. Nissan was clearly trying to be different and ahead of the curve with the ergonomics and everything like that. So definitely a cool retro feel with everything up front here. All right, here we go. Oh, that's fun. That is. There's a little puckering going on here. Ah. That's good. That is good. I feel like I'm hearing old Gran Turismo noises with the blow-off valve and the throaty V6 sound. It's just, that's cool. There's power everything. The options in here are top tier. This was definitely a GT car when it came out. You know, power seats, leather, cruise, everything that you can want in a top tier like GT car, T-tops. I mean, it's definitely was spec'd out for its time, and you can really see that in here, which is something that I didn't really realize. I thought this was more of a sports car, first performance based. It really feels more like in the line of like a Supra or something that's more like grand touring. Oh yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, that turbo surge is intoxicating. I could do that all day. Power on this, it's not that immediate hit of power that surprises you. It just builds, and it has that nice surge over time, giving you that, you know, linear, which is one of the hot words that all the car reviewers use, that linear power. But no, it just builds and builds and builds, and it invites you to rev it out, you know? It wants to go there. I would love to take these T-tops off, go drive down in the Finger Lakes, go cruise around this little time capsule of a car. Really cool. Yeah, and Nissan, what are you doing? Name the new Z, the 400ZX, and just add the X at the end, because it really is going to be the modern drivetrain equivalent of this car. So just add the X. 400ZX. We are back on what was my first Z that I've ever been behind the wheel of. What about for you? Was this your first Z as well?
I've ridden in his before, and I've driven a 350Z that's pretty souped up. So.
Okay. So what'd you think?
This one was faster, for sure. But I expected like delayed power delivery from twin turbo, but since I'm assuming they're small twins, right? It's immediate and linear and awesome. And it pulls all the way up. It feels like, you know, once you hit boost, it feels NA, but it pulls you the whole way there. Lots of torque, lots of goodness.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And like I said while I was driving, like, Nissan, add an X at the end of the new name.
Yeah.
It's 400ZX.
Yeah,
like
bring it back.
It's, you know, the 80s are back, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, Mark, appreciate you having us out here, driving the car. It was a great first experience for me. Definitely a little more of a GT car than I was expecting, which was really cool. Like, what, you had like leather seats, automatic. What was some of the other things that were on there?
Yeah, the power seats, the automatic climate control, electro defogging mirrors.
What?
Sport and touring mode. You could change suspension to the factory suspension. Not anymore though.
That's crazy though, from the era that this thing's out of.
I also love that everything, you know, it's kind of that era too. Everything is right there. Like MK4 Supra is the same way.
Yep.
You know, the old car, S2000's that way. Everything is right at your fingertips. Right. I was looking for your climate control and like in the center console. I'm like, oh, it's right there. And it beeps when you turn it down too, which is really adorable.
So cool. We'll have more episodes coming out like this, reviews, as we try to squeeze them in with what summer is left. So stay tuned. If you liked the video, click the like button down below. It really helps us out and helps grow our channel. So thank you very much, and stay tuned. It's busy out here. I want to drive this car, but there's no room. Add the X. Add the X, Nissan. Hashtag add the X. That's probably not going to make it in there. But seriously, they should just add the X.